I just realized that I forgot to rank all the Purge movies after I did my rewatch. I told everybody I would, and I completely forgot, so I'm going to go back and do it. My very first one that I think I enjoyed the most was Purge Election Year, which is the third movie in the Purge series. The reason I liked this was we got to see some actual government, quote-unquote, officials that were against the Purge. We got to see why that this party was going against the new founding fathers. You know, for the first couple movies, we really didn't see anybody that was against it. Maybe some everyday people, but we didn't see the government side of it. Now we see the opposing viewpoints, and we see that candidate that's going through to become a pretty important character in the Purge films, and absolutely seeing what's going to happen. We also got to see a continuation of characters from the second film, and we got to explore more of the Purge world and what's going on in the United States during that time. So I think this might be my favorite, and it could change, but as of right now, I'm going to say this is my favorite. My number 2 in the Purge series was Purge Anarchy. This is where we dive deeper into what was going on with Purge Night, and we got some of the characters that are going to stick with us throughout the series, kind of, and it's going to develop more into how Purge Night began, but really look at it from different angles and exactly what was going on, not just on the street level, but with some of the higher wealthy people. I enjoyed it. I thought that the kills were creative. I thought that the characters that were purging was creative. It had this sense of just complete eeriness around it, unlike the first one, which, you know, we'll get to later. But I didn't enjoy it as much as Election Night. I think Election Year was a much better story overall. Third on my list is the OG, The Purge, the very first film. Here we dive into what's already been going on, and we see exactly what the United States is about. We have our main characters who are trapped in their house. They've got the protection, but something goes wrong. And we even see more of just how twisted it is, how the neighbors are even involved, and people that you love and think that you know and think that you're our friends turn on you when it comes to Purge Night. I like the movie, and it's what started it all, but I don't think it's the best one out of the series, which is why I ranked it number 3. Okay, so number 4 on my list is the first Purge. Now, this goes all the way back to the beginning, to when the government decided to implement this new policy, this new way of life in America. And we see this experiment and how they interview people that are essentially trapped in the projects and you know, poorer areas where they can experiment on them as far as, would you stay? Would you purge? If you stay, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. Are you going to purge? Who are you going to purge? And how are you going to purge? And if you don't want to stay, you can get off the island. We see the protesters. We see kind of people just shocked that it's even taken place as the new founding fathers got their power. And I did enjoy that. I enjoyed that concept. I just didn't care about the characters. And I know a lot of these movies tend to look past those characters and look at like kills and action sequences, but you still need some good characters and good development. And even though these characters, a few of them were seen later in the Purge movies, at least the cause and the reason behind it, I just didn't really care. I did find it super interesting, though, how they chose this area, and I thought there was a lot of similarities with what we talk about with our politics today. But overall, as a movie, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite Purge by far, which is why it's ranked number 4. Last but not least, because I didn't rank the series in this, I'm just looking at the films. If you want to know where my series ranks, it's probably right here, honestly, with this one. The Forever Purge. The Forever Purge, to me, I thought it went backwards. It was a step backwards. I liked the idea of them going to a different part of the world. We're going to Texas. We're going to see them survive Purge Night. But then what happens when the Purge continues? What happens when people in the United States want to continue doing the Purge, and you start to get these like extreme groups within the Purge? So you already got all these horrible things happening, these killers, these murderers, people just going crazy. And now you have an extreme group, a religious belief, a racial group, a racist group that is going to hunt down people that don't fit the image of America. So some of that stuff, super interesting for what's going on in the world, period, and what's going on in the country. But they didn't bring us any characters. It was like the last time we saw it, we had this woman who was taking power and taking office to get rid of the Purge. Then in a blip, you basically say the new founding fathers are back, and this is what they're doing, and now nobody can stop the Purge. Why do we have to make it one night? Why can't we do it forever? And we see this group escape to Mexico as the savior. So there's a lot of layers there. There's a lot of depths and themes and political topics and all that. But I don't know. I felt like we could have gone further with the characters from the second and third film before we completely just scratched it and went to these new characters. It was entertaining. It's definitely not my favorite. So there you have it. There you have my ranking of all the Purge films.